So hello everyone, let's start with the usual changing of the camera settings. But while I do that, I want to thank you all for joining in again, or for the first time, if that's what you're doing. Did that change anything? Not exactly. And this is too dark. It's possibly because it's been getting lighter outside these days since the winter is over. So, you know, I still have my blinds or the cover here next to me where the window is. But there's still some light coming from there. But you know, as we progress on this stream today, well, that will fix itself. So anyway, hello again, I'm Riho, I'm from tulevik.EU, which is a game development company, and today I will be working on my game Office Management 101. So we have Shadowman in the chat saying hi, Saromatic saying hi, hello, thank you guys. Hopefully you'll find this to be entertaining enough to watch again. So the plan for today is to keep in sort of the Easter theme still, as the holidays are still going on in some places. I did some Easter themed stuff on Friday, and also worth noting, if you've been only watching me on Mondays, then last week I did 3 streams. So on Monday I did the usual Office Management multicast to both Twitch and YouTube, and Mixer as well, but no one watches on Mixer. But on Wednesday I did a sort of a unscheduled Office Management stream on Twitch only. And then on Friday I did another unscheduled stream, but that was not about Office Management, but about Minecraft plugin development instead. And that worked out great. We had a lot of people watching, way more than usual. A lot of new followers, subscribers. So if any of you from Friday are back here again, today will be somewhat different from that. In addition, I will keep doing more streams. So I think I'm gonna make Wednesday another regular day on my schedule, and it will be around the same time then. What is it, 6 p.m. GMT, 1 p.m. EST. So that will be on Wednesdays, and that will also be mostly Office Management 101. I think, at least. Maybe sometimes less frequently it will be something else, but you know, we'll see how that goes. And then sometimes on Fridays or maybe Saturdays I will do an extra stream, but I will not put that on the schedule because you know, I don't want to take that responsibility on me quite yet. Possibly in the future though. we'll see. And the Friday, Saturday stream might be something different than Office Management 101 then. You know, just to expand my repertoire here a bit. And also, clearly there looks to be some demand for Minecraft stuff from me, so you know, might as well accommodate that demand then. So let's get to the whatever we do here today. So since this is still Eastern themed, I was thinking of trying to get this fella, or at least maybe the head of the guy, into the game. So these are some of the early sketches that I did of the characters in the game. And as you can see, some of them have made it into the game with some work. I mean, this guy is in the game, but I changed the artwork here a little bit. This head as well, but also changed. This is another one. This one isn't, I think. And these ladies here as well. So, you know, this one definitely isn't. So I started with these sketches and then polished them up. But one of the sketches that I didn't get into the game is this rabbit guy, or a guy in a bunny suit. I always thought it looked cute, but you know, just unpolished. And I thought also that it looks kind of funny, which goes with the whole theme of the game. So I'm thinking I'll start with the head, and then I'll see how I can do the body parts. So that's the start. Is there anything else I should talk about for starters? Oh yeah, I did get, like I mentioned, I did get a bunch of new followers on Twitch on Friday. And I finally went over the required 50 followers that Twitch needs for the affiliation. There's still one requirement missing there, and that is doing more than, or at least 7 streams in the past 30 days. But I think that should be covered by today's stream as well. But then I have the dilemma, like, do I go for the affiliation or not? Because if I do, then I can't multi-stream to YouTube at the same time anymore. So I don't know if I should or not. Like, even right now there seems to be at least one viewer on YouTube, and actually, to my surprise, the stats are showing one follower or one viewer, sorry, on Mixer. So hi, the Mixer. That's a surprise that rarely happens. So I would kind of feel sorry for leaving those other communities out. Because, you know, all of them have been great to me. So yeah, it's a tough choice. I mean, I could make it show I share my time somehow between the different communities. Like maybe stream on one platform on one day and then another on another day. Or I could maybe make different kinds of content for YouTube then. So instead of streams, maybe videos. But then again, what I hate about videos is the time it takes to render things and edit and all that. Uploading also takes a long time. So yeah, it's going to be a tough choice. But the affiliation on Twitch also has its benefits. So, you know, feel free to pitch in any of that. So, you know, if you mostly watch on YouTube, would you be willing to watch on Twitch instead? Or if you watch on Twitch mostly, would you be interested in those affiliation features? So, you know, feel free to discuss that. So anyway, let's actually get to work. As usual, when I'm talking here, I'm not doing anything much else. And that's not good. So I'm gonna take one of the heads that I've previously worked on or made. I'm gonna use that as a base. So one of the previous streams, I made a head that was supposed to look like me, but didn't end up like that. This guy. I was kind of going off my photo here, but since the resolution is small, it was hard to pull off. But it still ended up as a new face, so that's something. True Bro asks, hey, does game development require JavaScript? I mean, it can if you want it to. It doesn't have to. If you do know JavaScript and you're comfortable with it, also thanks for following. That is awesome of you and very much appreciated. So anyway, if you do know JavaScript, then yes, there are game development libraries out there, or maybe even engines that you can use with JavaScript. So it's definitely a possibility, and plenty of games have been made with JavaScript. One that pops to my mind right now is Curious Expedition. I guess I can look it up for you. Curious Expedition. By the way, I think the second part of that is coming out soon. Let's see. Where's the chat? Here. So it's on Steam. You can check it out. Hopefully I'm not mistaken, but I do think it was made in JavaScript. Because I remember playing it on a website before it launched in early stages. But what exact engines exist for that, then I'm not sure. But most popular game development languages are C++, C#. Let's see what else. I'm using Java. Python is an option for Godot, which is a free game development engine. What else? I mean, I guess you can pretty much make a game in any programming language. It just depends on how much work you're willing to put in. Because, you know, established engines have more features in them already. But you know, some programming languages might not have such an engine yet. Oh, Unity supports JavaScript, says Saromatic, and yes, now I remember it does. Although it's, I think when I tried it, it was kind of flaky. Or, you know, it had some bugs. It didn't work as well as the, what's the default one for that? Is it C#, I think? C# worked better, I think. But yeah, for like some basic stuff, it should be able to use JavaScript just as well. So for the head here, I started by just recoloring the basic shape here, and then I can start putting in the brighter colors and see where we go. So this sketch has like borders around this sprite mostly, and I don't really do that in the game. Like say for this face, it doesn't have a border around. Oh, nice, Solzi 5, Solzai. I hope I didn't butcher that name. Thanks for following, much appreciated. And very awesome from you. So By the way, the new viewers, I'm interested in how did you find the stream? Did you browse it on Twitch or did you find it somewhere else? Yes, hello, hello. If you're new here, what I am doing is working on my game called Office Management 101. Okay, you just found it in the Science and Technology. That reminds me that it's I always wonder which category I should use. I mix the stream up quite a bit. Sometimes I draw pixel art, sometimes I make music, sometimes I program. And you know, in theory, I could every time then switch between the categories and go to, I don't know, use the art category, or for music there's like several categories, I think, like composition or whatnot. And also, since the name of the game exists in the database as Office Management 101, I could use that. Lately, yeah, music and performing arts. Lately, I've mostly resorted to design and technology, and I think it's been the one that has brought in the most viewers that sort of stick around. So I guess it goes with it, but you know, it also depends on what type of content you're interested in still, right? So like when you're browsing science and technology, what do you usually expect to find there? Because I also browse that category sometimes to find new streams to watch, and also I browsed the pixel art tag quite a bit. So, you know, but that's just me. And other people might have different preferences. So now I'm thinking if I should make the airs have like an inner part there. How do I demonstrate it? Actually, I really would have wanted to wear something Easter themed myself, like a bunny costume. And I even actually looked into face filters, you know, the kind that you'd expect to have on Snapchat or I don't know, Instagram or something. But I didn't find one that would work well with OBS or Streamlabs. So Solzai says you'd expect mostly programming stuff or game development. Okay, that makes sense. You notice that there's a lot of animals in this category. Yeah, it might be that other people are doing that themed stream kind of a thing today. Well, kind of the same way that I am. Also, in the chat, you can see a link to my game where this artwork will be in. Office Management 101. It's a business management simulation or a office management simulation, sort of a mix between Sims and Theme Hospital or Game Developer Tycoon or stuff like that. But it's more in more pixel arty. And I am the lead developer for it. I also do most of the art, most of the community management, most of the marketing, what else? Most of the music, most of pretty much everything. But I do have some other people helping me out every now and then when possible, when I can afford to pay them. So yeah, kind of a little bit of everything. But thanks for saying it looks fun. It's not quite my first game, but it's my first commercial game, or at least my first bigger game. I have made some smaller games in the past. Actually, I started quite a long time ago. I was maybe like 13 or so when I first started programming games. I just gave them to friends and whatnot then. And 13, that's more than 20 years ago. So I'm getting old. But it was only about, let's say 6 years ago when I started taking it more seriously. I quit my job then. And I founded a company with my brother. And we set out to make games then. So we've released a bunch of free games since then. Some of them are on our website. You can check them out at that website. They're mostly short point-and-click adventures, and most of them are made by my brother. And I just helped him out with some of the stuff like music and testing and helping to put those out in front of people. Since my brother is a bit less social than me, maybe. Not that I'm a social butterfly either, but I do these streams kind of. So it's something. So yeah, like on the last stream, it came up that my brother doesn't really like to use social media that much himself. And he pretty much has no accounts on any platforms. no Facebook account, no Twitter account, none of that. But I think it's fine. For a long time, I also didn't have any. Until one of my old bosses convinced me to create a Facebook account. I was working as a web developer back then, and he pretty much told me that what kind of an IT worker am I if I don't even have a Facebook account? So I made one then. I'm kind of thinking that I should put something pink inside the ears here. So let's try that. But also I'm still, at least I feel like I'm still kind of new to the whole Twitch thing. I've been doing this, like if you count the months, then it's been a while already. I started in, was it in November or December or somewhere around that? And I've been doing it weekly. I did take a short, like a month break during the holidays. But since then, what's it been? I guess since February or late January, I've been doing this every week. I did skip 1 week a few weeks back when I was sick. But other than that, I've been doing it quite a lot, I guess. But I still feel like a noob at it. That's because I didn't really watch Twitch myself much before I started streaming myself. And it was sort of an accident that I even did. I mean, I had no intention to. But there was a friend of mine, another game developer, that was asking for help with music. So I did it on a stream. Like I took his music idea and I worked on it and showed that how that works. And after that, people seem to be wanting me to make more streams, so I just continued. So anyway, sorry for not answering the questions. So have I always worked with pixel art games? And yes, I don't have any art background, and I can't actually draw anything on paper. So pixel art is kind of like the only thing that I can do reasonably. And the same goes for my brother, so that's why we do the pixel art stuff. I mean, it's not impossible that we will do something different in the future. So maybe some 3D stuff or something like that. But you know, we'll have to see how that goes. So good thing that I started streaming on Twitch and not on YouTube and Mixer. Actually, I stream on all three at the same time. Even right now, there's like viewers on Twitch, but also at least one viewer on YouTube. And there was one viewer on Mixer earlier as well, but not at the moment. So, you know, I do all three. What game library do you use? I assume it's an OpenGL wrap, such as a lightweight Java game library. And yes, I'm using libgdx, which is built on lightweight Java game library. So it just adds more features on top of that. So yeah, I've enjoyed using it so far. There's some drawbacks there, like no console support. So for example, I can't really reasonably release this game on Switch, for example. So that's, you know, kind of a bummer, but, you know, what you gonna do? Other than that, I do enjoy using it. Oh yeah, OpenGL in itself also has, you know, some drawbacks, since Apple is deprecating OpenGL on their platforms. So, you know, that probably means that I will lose Mac support at some point as well. This is also a bummer. But, you know, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. There is another abstraction of that, another layer built on top of libgdx, which is what's it called? I always forget the name. It's another game development library that's in Java, and that's built on top of libgdx. And it should, in theory, be possible to port a libgdx game there. The question is, though, how some of the other Java stuff would work with that. Anyway, the neat thing about that is that they're planning, at least I don't know how far they are with it, but they're planning to add console support for their engine. And the way it would work is they would make it so the backend for some platforms is libgdx, but the backend for some other stuff would be monogame instead. So for the consoles, for example, it would be monogame. So, you know, you build your game with that library, and then on the back end, it just manages the parts of how it's supposed to work. So I'm thinking of adding another color here. And sorry if I work slow. Like I mentioned, I'm not really an artist. And I also get very distracted when I speak as I'm working on stuff. But I also assume at least some of you are here to just ask me questions. And that's also one of the reasons why I love doing these streams. Because then I can answer those questions. Because, you know, I could talk about whatever for the whole stream, but if it's not something that you care about, then, you know, that's probably not that interesting to watch. But if I do talk about the things that you're interested in, then that's hopefully a win-win for both of us. So how does it look from further away? Kind of noisy. I'm not liking that. The ears especially. So I'm thinking maybe I should lose the white here. And just use the pink instead. Also, I'm kind of glad that I pretty well managed to switch my mindset to the stream. I had quite a, let's say, passionate discussion just before the stream on a totally unrelated topic. I'm in Estonia, and it was about the Estonian game development industry and its organizations, so to say. It involved a whole bunch of game developers and structural people, so to say. And I kind of like dropped out of that conversation to come and stream. But I am really interested in how that will go and how it will end up. Hopefully for the better of our community. But we'll see. So, actually I can talk about the background of that a little. The Estonian game development industry is still like in its early stages, so to say. When I started more seriously 6 years ago, there were barely any games being made here. And there were even fewer like notable examples. But since then, we've had some companies pop up over the years, and we can say like one of our first major success in the form of Disco Elysium that came out last year and won a bunch of awards and was highly critically acclaimed and also sold well. So, you know, that was kind of like a major what's the word? Major, like a signpost, or I don't know. I can't really think of a good word for it. Like a major coal post on our way, but there still aren't many. Well, let's say bigger companies here. There's one that is mostly concentrated on mobile games. That's the biggest one here, but then there's also a few contracting companies that work for some AAA games, or at least high tier indie games. Like one of them made most of the art for Subnautica, for example. But aside from that, most of the other companies are smallish. Let's say, well, the Disco Elysium one also has, I don't know, maybe like 20 people or so. There might be a few others that have about that much. But most of the other ones are kind of like ours, like where we have just 1, 2, 3 guys working and just making small indie games. So, you know, we're still growing, but I think we're heading in the right direction in general. So now I flipped this sprite and I'm going to make this side of it. I'm still kind of not happy with some of the parts here, but it's a little better than it was. Richard Mann says, hi from Argentina. Hi, YouTube. I think you also... I've seen your name before. Right? Anyway, thanks for joining the stream. And hello. Hello from Estonia here. How's it going in Argentina? What's the game development like there? Do you know? Like, are there many companies there? And how are they doing? So what I'm doing here now is making sure the shadows fall from the right angle. The sprites in the game all pretty much have it, so the shadows fall on the right side of the sprite and the light falls on the left side of the sprite. So sort of imagine that the light is coming from like this direction. From this angle, sort of. And that just, it might not be like that in every game situation, but just, to give it a sort of pixel art shape properly. So it's fine. We are, like most of the world, in quarantine. Nice to see a game developer from Estonia. Yeah, like I just discussed here just moments earlier. It's pretty rare to see a game developer from Estonia. We're out there, but there's a few of us. Just a few of us. But yeah, we are in quarantine just the same. Actually, I hadn't been out for what's the date? Like almost a month until yesterday, when I went to the store finally. And one of the reasons why I did not go out was because I was sick a few weeks ago, and some of my symptoms were like the same as the coronavirus symptoms, right? So I called my doctor. He wasn't sure either. Like he agreed that the symptoms might indicate the virus, but not necessarily. So he didn't send me to testing, but he told me, just in case, stay home so you don't infect anyone. And that's what I did then. But yeah, I've been better for some time now, and I was running out of food stuff, so I finally went to the store yesterday. I did take all the precautions that I could take, still just in case, wore a mask and all that, and tried to avoid people. And yeah, I do feel thanks for saying that you're glad that I'm okay. I appreciate it. Yeah, I do feel like I've helped plant some of those seeds over the years. Like early on, I helped organize some events for the community and stuff like that. Also trying to set an example that this sort of thing is even possible in our country. Stuff like that. But I'm definitely not the only one planting seeds, or like probably not even the most effective seed planter, so to say. There's definitely people who are doing a lot more of that than I am. At some point I felt like I had to prioritize my own way a bit more, meaning that I used to live in the capital city, which is Tallinn in Estonia. But for developing games, that sort of proved to be, at least doing it my way, seemed to be a bit too expensive. So to save on costs, I moved out to the countryside, to a small town. That was like 4 years ago? 3 years ago? I'm not sure. 4, I think. And that has made it harder for me to engage in the community face to face. We still have a Discord group, and it's been around for a long time. We started in Skype first, and then we moved on to Slack, and then finally to Discord. And I think Discord is the best suited for that sort of a thing. How's the new city called where you moved? It's called Türi. Türi in Estonian. I can write it in the chat how it looks like. I mean, I hope you won't end up stalking me or anything. Oh wait, I posted it in the wrong chat, I guess. Yeah. Like this. That's the YouTube one. So it's really small. There's I'm not even sure how many people live here. Like definitely less than 10,000. Yeah, I live in a apartment building, but there's lots of like private houses here instead. Just a few Soviet era apartment buildings. Again, I don't like this part here, and neither do I like this part here. So maybe I can somehow improve that. Is this better? Yeah, why I moved here was that the apartments here were extremely cheap compared to Tallinn. So, I could actually afford buying one. Which was nice. So bought a place here, and then yeah, I like it. There's like lots of nature here, and you're saying it seems like a nice, quiet city. Yeah, it is. About an hour and a half from Tallinn, also true. Although I don't have a car, so I have to take the train then. And by all means, do interrupt and ask me questions, because that is why I'm here. I mean, if I wanted to work just by myself, I would not stream in the first place, right? And I also think it will make for a more interesting stream if I do engage with people. On the chat here. So how's that starting to look? Kind of and kind of not. Also, an interesting tip that I picked up from another pixel art stream was to flip the pixel art every now and then. I'm gonna do that in just a moment. And the purpose of that would be to sort of give it a new perspective. To look it from a fresh perspective. Because when you do keep looking at the same pixels over and over again, you might miss something, and when you flip it, then maybe you pick up on something that you didn't before. And then once I've done that, I can again flip it, and hopefully that will help improve the overall image then. I noticed this here, for example. I guess that's a little better. So let's flip it again. Layers, flip. So where did I learn to make games? I was explaining earlier that I started making games when I was quite young, about 13 or so. I had a friend of mine who picked up programming about that time, and we did it together then. So I was more interested in the games development part of programming. He was more interested in software development then. But we exchanged the stuff that we did between each other, gave each other advice and stuff like that. So that's sort of how we made our first steps. So, but I mean, in general, when I grew up and picked a career, then game development wasn't really a thing in Estonia. So I went into web development myself. I also did other stuff for work, like server management, and like the official position was, what was it, network administrator. But yeah, back then, that was in the 90s when I started, when I was 13. So, finding resources for game development back then were a lot harder than they are today, right? So a lot of it was just, experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't. And in general, the game development back then worked very differently from how it does today. Like there weren't easily accessible game development engines or libraries either. So, I had to do that myself as well. So that actually taught me a lot about programming and about how games work, like deep down. But yeah, Richard Mann says, I don't know how old you are, but I love this kind of pixel art. Thank you. And it gets me to my childhood in the 90s, where I played graphic adventures like Indiana Jones, Last Crusade, for example. The pixel art point and click adventure games were definitely a big part of my childhood. So Indiana Jones definitely is in my top games of that period. Monkey Island. What else? Simon the Sorcerer was one of the ones that I really loved. Let's see, what else can I think of? XCOM definitely was a big inspiration for office management art style. UFO and XCOM. What else? There was a bunch, of course, from the genre. Also like Theme Hospital. Theme Hospital, Transport Tycoon, SimCity, games like that. I did play a lot of those. So that's a lot where the inspiration for Office Management 101 comes from as well. But as for games like Monkey Island and Indiana Jones, we actually have made a lot of such point-and-click adventures too, and you can find those on our website. Some of them, not all of them, are in there. Because some of them that we made don't have our company branding on it. Most of those were made by my brother, and I just helped with the music and whatnot. And yeah, we've divided our genres this way. That my brother mostly works on point-and-click adventure games, and I'm working on Office Management 101. And we release those under the same company then. Okay, I'm kind of feeling like I should move on from these to the... Wait, now I'm noticing something about this though. It doesn't make sense. That should be the back part of the head. Like here, for example. So, what happened there? Like, did I never draw it? Like, I kind of vaguely do remember drawing it. Anyway. Have you made yourself or some relatives in pixel art? This guy was supposed to be me. I did it on a stream some time ago. But it didn't quite work out exactly like that. It's hard to, draw in this small resolution. So I did use my own photo as an reference for this, but it didn't quite work out. Anyway, I'm gonna use this as the template then. Just need to verify something here. Yeah, just oh, now I know what's going on. I flipped it earlier and I didn't flip it back. I flipped the whole image. How silly of me. Anyway, coming back to the question, if I've made any of me or my relatives in pixel art. It's something that I do want to experiment with again, probably. Like, I don't know, draw my brother again. Or not again, but, you know, draw my brother. And then, I don't know, maybe my parents. Make it a gift for them for some occasion. Could be fun. My sister, I also have a sister. Maybe some of my friends sometimes. Okay, so let's flip this layer. And that's the back part I was looking for. That's why I was saying that I did remember drawing these. But, you know, whatever. Just me being silly. I did start wondering something, Joe. Like, is the head in the right position here? There is some misalignment here. It looks like, because this is the jaw here, and it should be on the same height. Unless this is the jaw. And then, what about this neck part? Need to look at some other ones, I think. I mean, I guess it's the same here. But what about this? So I have to compare this and this. And these seem to be lined up the same way, so I guess I was worried for nothing. That just means... Well, I can't really copy paste it over anyway. So what I can do is just trace the shape here. And then go from there. Should this pixel be visible? And if it's the jaw, then maybe. the eyebrow would go here. The face color would go here. This is this pixel, and then same here. Then I have to figure out how to draw the ears. And those I do feel like copy pasting the shapes of. Just have to figure out which ear goes where. So this ear would be here, but flipped, so that's that. Wait, is it? No, actually I realized something. This air should be here. And this air should be here. Otherwise the rotation doesn't make sense, right? So how do I actually do that? Guess I'll move this over for a moment. Damn, that's gonna be pretty complicated actually. So Satomatic asks, when do you think you'll release a version of the game on Steam? After playing the demo a while ago, it would be good to try out new features and whatnot. The honest answer is that I don't know. We are already in the middle of a economic crisis, but it's only getting started. Well, the way I see it is that the way things are right now, a lot of people are staying at home and they have nothing to do, so they buy a lot of games right now as well as other entertainment, right? So releasing a game right now might be a good idea, right? And a lot of game developers are doing that. But since Office Management 101 is not at that point yet, I do feel like then I wouldn't release it right away. But by the time that I would release it, we might be deep into the economic crisis, when a lot of people have lost jobs, a lot of people have lost their savings as well. So that's the point when game sales are going to drop as well, I suspect. I mean, you never know. It's a complex system and whatnot, but But I feel like this is where we might be headed. Since games are not like an essential thing compared to, I don't know, food or medicine, stuff like that, housing. So that's like the first things that people will cut out, especially considering that a lot of people still have like a huge list of games that they have in their library that I have not played yet. So I'm worried about that it might not be a good idea to release a commercial game while, you know, people are out of jobs, or even worse, you know, fighting for their lives, fighting with the virus. So it might be best to wait out how things go, which might take a while. You know, that might be even next year or somewhere along those lines, when things are starting to get better again. So that's like the considerations I have. On the other hand, it's not impossible that I will release a new demo at some point as a free, you know, playable thing again. So we'll see. But another option for you to try out new features would be to apply as a alpha or a beta tester for the game. And I do plan to accept some of the new applicants once I feel like the game is in a state where it needs some new testing again. You know, I'm in the middle of finishing up a lot of major new features, and because I've not finished them up properly, they're all kinds of broken right now. So, you know. But yeah, you can sign up for the testing on our Discord. And I will get in touch with those that I see that are most let's say seemingly willing to contribute their time and effort for the testing. So another question that was asked that I did not answer was that what's the biggest challenge for you regarding the game? There's a bunch. Marketing is always a challenge for games at my scale. You know, zero budget, just working mostly by myself and all that. So, you know, just figuring out how to divide my time the best. Money is definitely a challenge to finance the game. I've done a lot of freelance work on the side. So I'm not working on Office Management 101 full time. I also do other things to feed myself, to pay my bills. But you know, that's not... I don't want to really put that burden on the players or the the possible players either. Meaning that I don't wanna make like a crowdfunding campaign or something like that, where I make a bunch of promises and then put that financial burden on other people. Because making this game is still mainly my dream, and I feel like it's my responsibility to make it happen. I mean, I do still appreciate the community that I have. I really appreciate it a lot. Probably I would have given up a long time ago if it weren't for you guys. But the amount of moral support that people have given me over the years, I feel like that's like all I can really ask for reasonably. And it wouldn't be fair to you guys if I asked for more than that. And especially, like I said, with the economic crisis looming, I'm not, at least by how it looks, I'm not about to go bankrupt. And I'm not making big bucks by my freelance work, but it's a living. And luckily, since I work from home, I still have some sort of an income. A lot of people don't anymore, so I'm like I really appreciate that. I'm thankful for that, at least. So how many copies do you plan to sell? I don't really have like a set number in my head. So I'm guessing the price point, I haven't really set that either, but it will be somewhere around the region. Like from 15 to 20 to something dollars. Because that's how much games like in this genre usually go for, I feel like. So, I can count from that. Let's say the game sells like 1,000 copies. That would be after the Steam got then maybe around 10 to $15,000, and then half of that would go to taxes and whatnot, and what else? And then we split the rest of the amount between the three of us, me, my brother, and Edwin, who works as a consultant sort of for the game, as a co-producer. So we'd split the funds for that. So 1,000 copies sold seems like a realistic amount, and it wouldn't make me rich or anything. But I could live on that for a little while at least. I wouldn't have to do as much freelance work then. But I'd be thankful for anything. I mean, these days there's games that come out, they're great, but barely sell anything. And I'm just trying to keep my expectations realistic. I don't have a marketing budget, so any sales that I make, I will be thankful for. So whether it's 1 or 2, or it's 100 or it's 1,000, I'll be happy with anything. It will all still have been worth it for the experience of making a game alone. And the community that has gathered around the game and all that. Saromatic says you could always have a donation page on your website to generate some extra money towards the game. I've thought about it sometimes, but like I said earlier, it doesn't feel like it's fair to put that burden on others. Especially since, say, the donations are rare or small-ish. I'd still have to pay taxes from them, and then with the amount that I might end up getting, I may not be able to deliver the kind of game that they would want me to, right? Like say you donate like $10, and there's realistically not much that I can do with that money, right? But you'd still expect, or hope at least, to have a full-featured game if you did donate, right? If you did donate that amount, right? So I don't know. I guess it's all debatable, and there's like different ideologies over that, but I might change my mind at some point, and I feel like I've been coming around to seeing different points of views lately, but we'll see. I'm not perfect either, and I have my own views, and I'm up to debate them whenever. And I'm a person who's willing to change my mind if if someone manages to convince me, you know. I'm not stubborn. Well, I am quite stubborn sometimes, but it's not impossible to change my mind. So Richard says he'll definitely buy the game, just need 999 others. You know, yeah. Any friends you can convince, or any others you can convince to get on the, let's say, the hype train would be helpful. And I kind of feel that would be more helpful than a donation, at this point at least. So, you know, if you want to help, that's a good way to do that. You know, talk about the game, ask questions in places where people interested in it might be. And, you know, just keep the discussion going, sort of. You know, it might be about giving me new ideas for the game, or asking about some features, or comparing the game to other games, you know, stuff like that. But yes, I really do appreciate it if you want to help out like that. If not, that's also fine. I appreciate anything. Like the fact that you're willing to watch these streams, or that you're like hoping to buy the game in the first place. That's all awesome. And I really appreciate it. But yeah, in general in life, I do feel like having expectations for things you do is like a quick way to be unhappy in your life. And instead, we should just appreciate as much of everything that we have. So no, despite everything, appreciate the fact that, you know, you're still alive, you're still healthy. You can, you know, still do things in your life. And, you know, no matter how bad things might get, like there's always, as long as you can still live, there's always ways to make it so it's going to be better. Will people in the game have different personalities? Yeah, they already do. The way I've done it is via perks. Excuse me. I burped at the moment I said perks. I can quickly show that. Let's see. continue. So, like when you start the game, you can pick some perks for your boss character. Like this one has basic testing skills, so they can do some stuff, and also perfectionist, which raises their work quality gap. But you know, people might have low motivation, high self-esteem, which makes them ask for a higher wage. Slacker, so they don't like to work as much, and they just go around, you know, not working. Low motivation again, you know, stuff like that. So that's kind of where the personalities come from, if that makes sense. Also, I just now noticed that one of the viewers has been talking to me on Discord instead. I'm gonna quickly answer them there. Sorry for this. I guess I can just let the game play a little. Let the character walk around and do stuff. Anyway, my sister commented that I have a really laid back energy for a Twitch streamer, and yes, I do. I've like noticed the difference between that myself. But that's just my personality, you know. When I started streaming, I decided that I'm not gonna act some role or some kind of a person that I'm not. So I'm just, you know, I'm just gonna be me, and if people find that watchable, then that's great. If not, then, you know, just that means that I'll just have to work harder a little. Just, you know, it will take me longer to gather viewership, but you know, if I'm I feel like if I'm consistent enough and stubborn enough and keep doing this, then you know, I will find the kind of people who, you know, relate to me, so to say. And also, you know, I am socially awkward. That's no secret. But if I do hope that like if someone who also might have such tendencies, or is, you know, is a little bit awkward in their life, or feels like shy or whatnot, then by watching my stream, maybe they'll find it a little bit relatable, and maybe it will help them get inspired to try out things that that they wouldn't otherwise. Putting themselves more out there and being okay with it, being okay with being different from the norm or whatnot. Richard Mann asks, are Estonians awkward in general? Yeah, I guess so. At least a lot of foreigners think so. We're like very, in general, very drawn in and private people. We don't really tend to trust others quickly and whatnot. But even among like such a population, I'm still more awkward than your average person, I feel like. But I do believe that is okay. I definitely have come to accept being me. So I'm not uncomfortable putting myself out there. Like I used to be. So also my sister suggested to make the ears bigger for the bunny. One of the reasons why I don't want to do that is that there is a maximum height for the characters. And also maximum like width. So I can't have them be higher than the walls are, for example. So I'm not even sure if these are okay or not. I mean, I could make it so they're kind of like bent more, but it would be hard to draw. So yes, a proper bunny would have bigger ears. That is definitely true. But what you gonna do? Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that my sister is watching the stream. When I first started streaming, I didn't really tell my friends or anyone about it as much. Because I also felt kind of self-conscious about it. Kind of scared of, kind of scared of putting myself out there, doing the awkward things in front of my friends and family. But can also get used to things like that over time. So one of my friends also started watching the stream every now and then. And then the cat was out of the bag anyway. And as I see, the sister has joined the YouTube chat there. Hi. Don't start stalking her or anything, you guys. I don't know if. I hope none of you are weirdos like that or anything, but gotta be careful out there. Anyway, Richard Mann asks, will the game have some sort of campaign mode? Or will it be more sandbox style? It will have both. If I do release it in early access, then it will be in sandbox mode initially. And sandbox and free play, sort of, where you can... the way I define free play is like where you still have goals, but you can set those goals yourself. And sandbox would be where you have like unlimited money and you can just do whatever. Not sure how to do this back part. Anyway, going back to the awkwardness talk that I was having earlier. I also do think that I have gotten a lot more comfortable streaming than I was earlier. So I wouldn't say that I'm still good at it or anything, but I kind of do understand how it works now, better at least. Yeah, no idea what to do back here. Mart? Or is it... your name sounds Estonian. So, anyway, says, you're doing great, cheers, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I do feel like I've gotten better at it, and I assume that the more I do it, the more comfortable I will get at it. I don't think I'll ever be like those hyperactive streamers, but... you know, I will... I assume that I will be more entertaining as I keep doing these. And I still don't know what to do about this. Like, it looks fine on this side, but on this side it's a mess. But I can't quite put my finger on it. So now that actually at this point I have more viewers on YouTube than on Twitch, I'm gonna have to ask this again. Probably with this stream I will have covered all the requirements that Twitch has to apply for the partnership, not the partnership, but the affiliation agreement that they have. which means I could do that, and it would have some nifty features on Twitch that would be awesome. On the other hand, YouTube and Mixer would be out then, because Twitch requires for affiliates to stream into one platform at the same time. So, or like only on Twitch. I could do other streams, but not at the same time as the Twitch stream then. Which would suck, because I would cut out the YouTube viewers then. So the question is, would the usual YouTube viewers be willing to come over to Twitch? And if not, then what will I do about you guys? And I do not have to do the whole Twitch affiliate thingy either. But, you know, the community there might want that. So, you know, then it becomes a question, which do I prioritize? Sorry. Because both of you are awesome. And personally, I don't really like I have a platform preference. Does Twitch give notifications? Yes, it does. If you do click the notification bell in Twitch, you need to be a Twitch follower for that. And also Twitch sends an email each time a streamer goes live. You can turn that off, but otherwise, you know, it works. So let me paste the Twitch link in the YouTube chat there. I'm kind of hating how these are looking still. I mean, this one is a little better, but this one I don't like. That's because it's kind of looking like, it's called pillow shading. Where it's, I don't know how to describe it, but you know, it's mostly just the borders that are shaded. I don't really know how to make a shape of some sort back here either. Like texture of some kind. Because for hair, that's like more simple. Say here, like, you know, I can create a pattern of some sort or like a texture. But since this is just cloth, then I don't know. I mean, I could try to add some wrinkles of some sort, I guess. that could be the texture that I'm looking for then. But is it really what would look good here? I mean, I guess so. Especially maybe if I add these highlights in places. Or would that make it too noisy? And ruin the shape here. Yeah, it's kind of... not like that. I also need to somehow still enforce the shape, that it's a round shape. But I do think this is starting to look better now. I will have to do something like that on the other rotation too then. The other angle. So also, I've been sort of married to these colors for a while now, but maybe the solution is to change the colors a little. So, starting with this one. Could shift it towards more pink, maybe. And either more or less saturation. Yeah, this one I don't like. Well, this might be an improvement. And then... what can I do about this? Yeah, we might be getting somewhere with this. So yeah, sometimes changing the colors is the key. Am I planning to put more items in the game? Yes. And I have been making some items on the streams. Let's see, what have I made? I can actually open the game and see some of the ones that I made on stream. And we can also take a quick break from the drawing then. Let's just click continue here. So first of all, I will turn on debug mode. So I can just, put anything anywhere. And let's see. Oh yeah, Easter eggs. That I did not do on the last stream, but I think that was something that I did during the previous Easter. Or was it 2 years ago? So I do sometimes like to celebrate events like these with making a special item. Like I think I made a gift during Christmas, a wreath during Christmas, a Christmas tree, stuff like that. So one of the things that I did make on the stream was this executive table. And you can fill it up with paperwork. That piles up. Let's get some of these around. So it's now inside here. You can also place some on top. So that's one of the things that I drew on the stream. And it was actually a request or a suggestion from one of the viewers. So, if you do have any furniture suggestions, let me know. I am really open to working on such things in future streams. But also, one of the things that I did do was this portable whiteboard. Oh yeah, also what I did was paperwork shredder. Which is a much asked furniture item by the people who played the demo. So if you do have paperwork, you can shred that in there. Like this. But it should also add a noise for shredding. But it's available, or it's going to be available as a mod of the game. Since the paperwork piling up is sort of like a puzzle feature, and I do feel I should keep it like that. But if you really hate it still, then you can install the paperwork shredder mod, and you can get rid of the paperwork that way. Because I do believe that players should be able to play the game the way they want to. Where is the Estonian flag? There is an Estonian flag. There you go. I did that on the Estonian birthday a few years back. Also, to celebrate the event. Can the employees get drunk at the office? Not at the moment, no. But, that might be something that I would want to add in the future. Stumbling on my words here. So, I was dealing with the colors here. And there is one more color that I want to try out here. Actually, I might change the pink in the ears too, but we'll see. Too high of a saturation isn't good here. So maybe something more gray is better. But yeah, in addition to getting drunk, I mean, office parties are definitely something that I do want to add. Because that is a thing that happens in offices. Although I was thinking more like the kind of sad office parties where have you seen the movie Office Space? Gonna look up an image. There's a scene there that's something that I really liked. Let me copy this over. That's a bad image of this, but I don't know. I'm not gonna waste time looking up for a better one. Anyway, like you're obligated to sort of gather on these get-togethers. You don't even know any of these people. They're just random people you work with, and some random guys having a birthday party, and then they're sharing cake there, but this guy is worried that there's not enough cake for everyone, and he's supposed to, pass it along, and in the end he doesn't get any cake. So that's kind of my view of the office parties, birthday parties. Since I would say the ones that I attended were like that. Maybe a little in one of the places where I worked at. But then again, even there, like after work hours, when it was someone you knew better, we would have still like smaller gatherings where we would get just wasted drunk. So, can employees arrive late because they spent all night in live YouTube stream? They can arrive late. That's also a perk in the game that makes them be late. So let me close this. Makes them be late often. So yeah, some employees can have that sort of a negative perk, and pretty much everyone that you can hire has like at least one negative perk. The game is quite cynical and kind of dark even, and a little bit of that comes from my resentment of the whole office culture in the first place. How it can be a bit like soulless sometimes, and soul crunching is that's a word to use. Mind numbing. So that's like one of the reasons why I wanted out of it. It was also getting quite repetitive, so that was also part of it for me. So envy about another employee being promoted. It kind of would be hard to tie that into the game mechanics, I feel like. But maybe it could work. It's weird that I haven't really thought of that before, but it's like a solid point. It's a good idea, because that is definitely a real thing in a lot of offices. So yeah, weird that I haven't thought of it before. But like I mentioned, I really didn't work in any of the really bad companies, like where you're stuck in a cubicle for hours and hours, and there's like hundreds of people working in those cubicles. So yeah, luckily I didn't work in any such companies. But even then, there's still things that I didn't like. So, are we finally getting somewhere with this? I've been working on it for quite a while now, I feel like. And it's been getting better, but but it's not perfect still. But, at some point I might just have to accept that it is what it is. I have my limits, and can't jump over my shadow here. So I'm gonna try adding some darker pixels here and see if I like that. And I'm thinking I do. Is there like an office partnership level, like all people focus and willing to work harder if others work hard, if others work harder as well? Just an idea for far future. Not exactly, but there's some. So, how to explain this? So there's relationships in the game, meaning that people can get friends in the office. They can fall in love even. And how you treat those people that they like will affect those people who like them. But there's also hate on the other end of the scale. So some people can hate someone else, and you find out a bit about these relationships by gossip emails that you get. So that's kind of how it works. Also, like if someone is friends with someone, they can when they're slacking, they might go and talk to the friend and then get them to slack as well. There's like sort of dynamic there. But yeah, I could expand that in the future, that's for sure. So, I think we've come to a point where I can see what this looks like in a game. So for that, we will save this into mail 8. And then I need to define this so the game knows to load that file even. Where is that? Hits character parts here. So that will be 8 . And I also need to define the y coordinate for it. And with that, it should work. Simple enough, right? So let's start a new game. Oh, and there it is. It would already say that the brightest color is too bright here. But let's see how it looks like in a game. Better, I guess. But yeah, I should do something with that color. The line here sort of gives a weird wrinkle, though I don't like that. So I meant this. On here it might be fine. But yeah, the brightest color then, let's make it a little darker. Let's change it. So is this better? Maybe even more darker. Richard Mann says it looks nice. Thank you. I do feel like we're getting there. Like some of the back of the head still feels a bit off to me, but oh darn, I was not even showing, or was I? It's not even showing what I was doing here. So if not, then sorry, I changed this color here. I do forget sometimes when I keep the game running, then you can't see what I'm drawing. Oh, but it did see. Okay, never mind, because then it's not full screen. I had this hidden. I think this is better for watching the game because, you know, it's full screen. Yeah, I like that color more. And let's see him walking around a bit. Yeah, you're just gonna sit here. Not gonna do anything. Don't you want some coffee? Here we go. I do like the front part of it all, though. And can you check the color with darker areas? Yeah, that's a valid suggestion here. I think it's fine. When the night falls, then I can check better, because then the light won't come in out from the outside. Never mind the bigger ears comment, that head is giant already. Okay. That's fine. I think the air length is good like this. Or fine, at least. Compared to the wall, it's bigger than the wall already. So. I don't know. I should check how he walks through the door. But you know, sure, go eat. Do your thing. It's kind of cute, isn't it? Especially with the suit and the tie and all. I mean, the ears definitely are longer than the walls, so I'm not sure if that might end up being a problem or not. Not really when it's this sort of a one-story building. But it is actually possible to create bigger buildings that have multiple stories there, multiple floors, multiple levels. So that might be a problem then. So thinking that I'm gonna wrap it up here for today then, so I can go eat something and then do some other stuff. I probably have some work to do actually. I have some freelance work. So let me switch the view here to this. This is me in full glory. Oh, and I figured out what one of the lighting problems is that I forgot about before. The reason that this part here is not black and is visible, somewhat is because I forgot to turn off one of the lamps in the ceiling. So yeah, I'll have like 3 lamps set up. One is in the corner up here, there. I don't know how to show it. There, and then one is here. But I also have a ceiling lamp, and that's lighting the background that I don't want to be lit. Anyway, that's beyond the point. So, by the current plans, I will be back on Wednesday around 6 p.m. GMT. That's 8 p.m. Estonian time and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have finally memorized those times. So on Wednesday, and I will be working on Office Management 101 again. Then, other than that, thank you everyone for watching. We got some stuff done again, which is always nice. And yeah, thank you. See ya, hopefully some other time then. Stay frosty is what I usually say. But also, stay healthy, stay all that.